I really should have looked behind me before I closed that door to make sure we weren't actually being followed. It looks like we're fine, but yeah. That is an excellent question, because I did not think of that. I mean, luckily, my name is not super rare, and honestly, if people really want to figure out who I am, they probably can, if we're being entirely honest here. Anyways, also, because I see you here and you can't escape, doing a shout out for Eros. Fantastic stream, does dad jokes, fun time. Plays Project Zomboid, RimWorld, a bunch of other games, so definitely recommend you poke in there. Yep, a lot of people do. And I'm skipping this track because I don't need people like talking and yawning as part of the track as if I have someone standing behind me being rude. I don't get why songs do that. Okay, and we ran out just in case there was some right here. We could push our way through about 2 zombies before we'd have to worry about tripping. So it's just easier to do that. At any time. I try when I see someone who I know has been streaming a lot, like, I try to make it a point to drop them a shout out and all that. Or I should say when they're active and their stream is something that I think my audience would enjoy. Because there has been 1 or 2 people who have been on the stream a number of times and supported me, but it's like, they're, I would say that their stream is, I will call it high octane. And while fun, I would want to preface that before I shouted them out. Not that I wouldn't shout out. I would be like, just so you know, high energy. Because some people are into that and some people aren't. And then honestly, some people need to remind me that they streamed. Like, actually, you know what? There's something I've been needing. Wait, do I shout you out, Pankraru? Yeah, I shout you out when you raid me. That's right. For some reason, I felt like it did, and I'm like, I really need to do that. It's like, yeah. Either way, I probably should do a shout out for you anyway. Thank you for the host, Pankraru, and I'll actually do a shout out right here in a minute. It's like they're listening. Oh yeah. And I try to make it a point. Like that is, if someone is going to take the time to raid me, I will take the time to do the shout out. Like, every time. Now, that will change if I find, like, someone is abusing it in some way. But that's not happened yet. And anyways, there's Pankraru, who's been doing Phoenix Point. So, if that is your jam, that is where Pankraru can be found. Quite the regular here in the community. I probably should actually come up with a name for the community beyond the community. And not like Rawls community or something like that, because gross. Feels weird. Don't mind me, I'll whiff with a hatchet. That's a safe thing to do. It's not. Don't do it. Or I guess I should say hand axe. But yeah, I guess the way I would put it with the storage unit, I was waiting for a storage joke. I don't know. I could even lean in on the storage joke, don't get me wrong. It's probably something I need to figure out. Because I should also, you know, with that, name the point something appropriate for that too. For the channel versus just points. I believe they do have a hit point value, if I remember correctly. And then where you hit the zombies will adjust it. I mean, I could. One of the things I have been very deliberate on a lot of the things to not tie them 100% to Project Zomboid. To try and make them more generalized, because while I do play a ridiculous amount of Project Zomboid, it isn't the only game I play. Alright, we gotta hydrate. I'll do that here in a moment. Yours are Quatus? Okay, that makes sense. Oh yeah, so a lot of weapons can critical hit, and when you're getting a lot of those one-shots until you get to higher skills, you're seeing the critical hits. Alright, I'll get that stretch here in a moment. And I actually am in relatively good posture. I'm not going to say the world's greatest posture, but good. You know what? I'll put up the desk. Alright, so what I'm going to do, since I'm in good posture and I want to do something for the posture check, if you bear with me for a minute, we've killed this horde. I'm going to pause. Cool. So I'm now standing for the posture check. I have a little bit of a glare on my screen because of the light behind me, but that is okay. What are you doing down here? Hey, and you know what I'm going to do? You're going to have to just deal with this, Longclaw. Because it just happened. Longclaw also does chill streams, playing Project Zomboid and other stuff. Looks like you're playing Timberborn, a game I'm not familiar with. I think I've heard of it, though. Yeah, also worth checking out. I'll call you a stretch timer enthusiast. But the sad thing is, if I do make that animation that times it all for me so I get it right every time, Burnin', like, I feel like I'm gonna put you out of a job. You control sentient beavers after a post-apocalyptic... It's a city... What? I mean... What? That sounds fantastic in the weirdest possible way I can imagine. Like, I am genuinely intrigued by that. Like, my brain is trying to process a game where you play as sentient beavers and that's some, like, city builder. Like, I get the premise, and I get why it's called Timber... What was it? Timber World? Or Timber Wood? But yeah. Timberborn. Okay, so, someone please do me a favor. Drop that in my game suggestions channel, because I am fishing for ideas of what game to play tomorrow for the other games. And that game sounds... super absurd in the best possible way. So that's a maybe. And it's also a game I know nothing about, so you can actually kind of see how I kind of go and parse through things when it's new. Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm going to be definitely playing a game that isn't our normal game, and I won't be playing Oxygen Not Included. I've been on the fence for a while in that one because I like the game, and I know some people have really enjoyed it, and we are a mid-playthrough, but it does so poorly on the numbers. Like, the last time I streamed it, we had about 1/3 of the audience we have right now at our peak. doing it. So I was like, okay, I like this game, but that's really low numbers. And not that numbers are everything or anything, but when a game just isn't doing well on your channel, it's time to go, there's a lot of games out there, maybe not this game. And it's a fun game. Well, that, and on Twitch, I am proud to say, both days I played Auction Not Included, I had the highest viewer count of any English-speaking stream for Auction Not Included, which was really terrible. Oh yeah, like, it's funny, I got my report at the end of that. The peak I had hit was like 557, but that was like right after Ziggy raided me and just, you know, he dropped 500 people on me, and it's just like, what? Especially since I have been a long-time viewer of Ziggy D Live. You know, from when I used to play Path of Exile all the time. Yeah, and I get it. That's fair. Like I said, it was not something that fared well. Yeah. And that happens. I mean, like, when I started playing Project Zomboid on here, like, that's the one that kicked off for me, like, Twitch had no presence. I mean, not no presence, that's unfair. It had a very, very, very small presence for Project Zomboid, where the community was super tight-knit when I started. Because, like, on Steam, you only had ever had, like, 700 or 500 concurrent players when I started doing it on stream. It was, like, really, really small. And then, yeah. Thank you so much, Pankaru. That really helps me, because people make suggestions, and unless I stop, pause the game, and go, I need to write this down, I will not remember. And I mentioned actually at the beginning of stream, when people were still coming into the stream, I was like, I have a note here. I have no context. It's Sapphire from Zomboid, and I'm like, I have no idea what this note was or means. I have zero idea, because I don't have the context. Oh yeah, alright, so I need to grab another weapon, because that's broken. Use the cleaver as our weapon for stamina usage. Because the cleaver's a short blade that has more stamina usage than most. Nope. Like, that's the thing that's kind of funny. I'm actually just going to eat this potato salad because, like, I'm not going to get through all my potatoes before they rot, so there's no reason not to. So I've got these potatoes. These potatoes are stale as hell. Like, you look at it, our character is just absolutely not going to have a good time if I eat that potato. Minus, 20 boredom, 20 unhappiness is terrible. Hold, please. I've made friends. Now I take that same salad, or that same thing, all I do is just say make a salad. There's no cooking, there's no anything, it doesn't even require a knife. You just have it. And suddenly the potato makes me happy. It's the same stale, squishy, awful potato. I just put it in a bowl and said, it's salad now. No salt, no pepper, no dressing, no other ingredients, just the potato. Oh yeah, I get excited when I find the first bowl. It's like, okay, that bowl stays in our inventory. Any type of vegetable goes in there. And it's funny because a lot of meats will go in there. Like, you'll take ham, and it'll be like, okay, make a ham salad. It's just ham in a bowl. Like, what kind of salad is that? But it's the same deal. And plus, you'll notice, it is fresh. It's made from a stale, squishy, nasty potato, but it's fresh somehow. You're not wrong. But at the same time, it's very difficult to have good presentation with really bad ingredients. If I go to the grocery store and I grab a potato and I can, like, physically squish it in my hands, it's like, okay, it's not rotten, it's not unsafe to eat, but I really don't want it. And I don't think you're going to just, you know, put a little parsley next to the side of it and convince me it's delicious. I think I'm still going to look at that potato and go, it's, potato looks a little gone, man. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, so the literal translation of that is what? The eye is with? Where's eat? Unless ist is eat. I'm just remembering the spelling wrong, probably. I used to be borderline fluent in German, and then I didn't use it for 20 plus years, so I'm very much at survivalist at best once I get warmed up. What, not again. Stop it. It's a good reason to speak German. These zombies have been ridiculous. I feel like being multilingual often does have that effect, where you actually wind up better at multiple languages than if a person speaks just a singular language. Because then you become more conscious about, like, verb placement and noun placement and that type of grammar stuff because you have to compare. What do you have? Is that a machete? I think I saw something exciting, but I'm not sure. I think the guy in blue has either a meat cleaver in his back or a machete. And I feel like it's a machete. And that'd be exciting because that'd be our first long blade this run. Gotcha. Essen's the one for eating, that's right. Because I'm trying to remember, it's something like, and this is me trying to reach back into, like, high school. I remember something like Fressen was not just eat, but eat, like, very aggressively, like a wild animal would eat. Because I remember cracking jokes with that. Why are you all doing this? I'm pretty sure I see a machete, and you are getting between me and my machete. And I'm getting pretty salty about it. I want to wreck zombies with a machete. Alright, where's our machete going? You're not the one with the machete. Where's our machete? Where have you migrated to? Don't do this to me. Oh, there. Never mind. You guys are fine. I want that one. That, I'm pretty sure, is machete right there. Friend, machete. Now. Excellent. Because I got more coming this way. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been, Actually, it's not been terribly long since I've been to Germany, because I remember I went to Cologne. We did the checking out one of the camps and everything, you know, Dachau, learn history. I won't go into that too much because it's all depressing and upsetting and sadness, but I think it's a valuable thing to learn about. Kinda shows what happens if you take things for granted. Yes. Let me actually sit out in the field so we don't get too bad. Yep. Got our machete. I just want to recover some stamina before we start obliterating some zombies. It's going to be slow at first because we have 0 long blade skill. But once we get a point or two, we'll start deleting stuff. Oh yeah, it's a classic. I mean, the 3 classics you always see in zombie anything is the machete, the baseball bat, and the fireman's axe. I mean, just axe, but the fireman's axe. You know, outside of generic guns. Yeah, Nimble's actually coming along well. I think we've got 2 Nimble at this point. Yep. Ooh, and our strength and our fitness are actually coming along. We're not too far. I mean, we're about halfway. But we're not too far off from when we're going to hit our next level. Okay, if you're looking for a baseball bat, if you go to Riverside, and actually I can show you exactly where it is. Give me a moment. So if you go to Riverside, so you've got the main road here, and I believe it's this building. There is a sporting goods store, something like Fun for Sport or something like that. It doesn't always have baseball bats, but I've got as many as 11 baseball bats out of that one building. It's like there's 4 stores, and it's like the 3rd one there. It's either this building or that building, but I think it's this one. You can also get lacrosse sticks and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I haven't had quite that much luck since multiplayer, but I still walk away usually with like 6 or 7 and all that. Yeah, you'll find like lacrosse sticks and what is it? Not canoe paddles, kayak paddles, hockey sticks, baseball bats, tennis rackets. Helmets that don't actually give you defense, so just fill you with sadness because why? Is that a hunting? No, it looks like a kitchen knife. But that's the place that I know of that you can very reliably get baseball bats. And usually not an insignificant number of them. Yeah, summer hat meta. Alright, we have meta events, so let's look at which way the zombies move. The zombies are moving north, it looks like. That's actually pretty handy, if I'm being honest. What do you have, sir? What is in your back? You have a hand axe. Come here, sir. Wait, is that a voice? Okay. Deal with you two. Deal with the threat first. That one has a hand axe. We'll just get ourselves another weapon, if you don't mind. But yeah, immediately when I hear a meta event happen, as soon as I can break from the zombies, I'm going to take a quick look around, see which ways the zombies are moving, and that means I watch this side of us, because they're going north, which means I have to worry about south. Just whichever way they're moving, you got to worry about the opposite direction. The good news is we've killed most of the zombies to the south, so not many zombies could come by and cause us a problem. Hang on, do you have my emergency channel? That is one of our objectives, is to find the emergency channel. Nope, but at least had some channels for once. It's a shame that I don't think I really have any tape to repair the machete or anything, so when it breaks, it breaks. That said, I think I'll hold on to it in case I come by some, you know, machetes or some tape or whatever. Oh, I had a piece of aluminum. That's fine, I was trying to remember to get rid of it. But yeah, just giving you an idea of the zombie populations, just us trying to get back into the city that we were kicked out of, and it's one of the low population locations, low-ish, medium. We're at almost 2,000, well, we're coming up in 1,700 zombies, I shouldn't oversell it. 1,700 zombies. And we're just now getting to the edge of town to be able to where we might get into a house today. Probably not, but we'll probably get close. So when I say this is a bit of a slog, it will be quite a bit. The good news is the way it usually works is you kill out these giant hordes, and then suddenly you'll see like smaller and smaller groups until then you're just only seeing individuals or groups or 2 or 3 or whatever. You know, it's all the ones that are then wandering in from the woods and stuff like that. They're not actually the proper groups that were in the city to begin with. Probably long blade 1. And every point in long blade means this will get better and better. Yup. Oh yeah, getting pretty, we're about halfway to main, well a little over halfway to maintenance 4 too. And maintenance 4 where things start to feel pretty good. That's the point where I can stop picking up scissors and stop picking up kitchen knives and all that crap. Especially if we find another crowbar at this point. That crowbar will last the point we get pretty well armed. So I have electrical and carpentry, fishing and trapping to read still. Oh, I need to get this off us because we're not going to use that. Oh, the bars up here? So those bars are a mod called Minimal Display Bars. Basically, they're giving me the information that would get shared by the Moodles just before the Moodles show up. So I can kind of tell when my stamina is getting close to moderately exerted before it actually gets there. So for example, this white bar here, that's endurance, that's your stamina. You'll notice there's that first line from the top. When I go and I cross that first line, that means we've hit moderate exertion. But there's one for your actual health, like how much life you have, how full or hungry you are, hydration, your stamina, how sleepy you are. We're actually getting pretty close to hitting drowsy. There's one for how bored or how sad you are, which we have nothing there. The next one that's yellow is your temperature. Mostly I only care if that's really high or really low. Otherwise I can basically ignore that. And then the very last one would be your calories. And that's because the weight gain in the system works kind of funky. Like, I can't just shovel 5 pounds of food in my mouth and suddenly I'm gaining weight. If I'm shoveling a whole bunch of calorie light food, like if I'm just eating vegetables, you'll basically never gain weight. You will starve to death eventually. So as you can see, I have no calories at all. I'm technically negative calories. So I'm shedding weight about as fast as my character can. And that's because I'm basically just eating vegetables for the most part. At which point, eventually I'll start eating ice cream and all that. Yeah, so there are some exceptions if you eat absurd amounts of certain vegetables. But, like, could you imagine having to just deal with growing, then eating 70 cabbages every single day? Just how many cabbages you'd have to grow? Like, that would be your entire gameplay, is just growing and shoveling cabbage into your mouth as fast as it'll let you. The benefit, the pro and the con for over versus underweight. So I generally find underweight is the easier to deal with for, like, getting out of it faster, because you can eat a lot far more aggressively to gain weight than you can for losing weight. However, overweight has an advantage of, as long as you're not shoveling really dense stuff into your mouth, you can just eat when you're hungry and not have to worry about it. So basically, if you're underweight, you end up having to overeat to deal with it in a lot of cases, just because you're finding canned goods, you're not getting a lot of calorie-heavy stuff. Versus when you're overweight, you can just eat as you go, it'll fix itself. Another advantage, is probably not that big a deal in all honesty, is if you're underweight and you're not getting good calorie food, you're much closer to starving to death than if you're overweight. Now granted, going from, what is it, we'll call it 50 kilograms, because I don't remember what underweight's threshold is at all. Once you drop below 35, you physically start dying. So going from 105 to 35 is a very long time, versus going from 50 to 35 is a much shorter time. And in addition to that, there is no penalty, as far as I'm aware, of continuing to go higher and higher overweight. You just, once you're obese, you're obese. It doesn't get worse than that. So there's less danger there. And that said, I want to say the fitness penalty for obese is worse than severely underweight, but I could be wrong about that, because I never choose underweight, so I don't remember what the impact is. Generally speaking, I do find the underweight seems to be the more desirable one for people to run, but there are pros and cons. Yep, try my best. And if I got any information wrong, please correct me. It's more important that we get it right than I be right. I don't actually care much about being right. So, I thought about that. Thank you so much for the follow, Nino Kagito. Welcome to stream. If I mispronounce that, please correct me, and I'll try and do better in the future. But, yeah, I actually debated, like, what I would do to try and bump up the calories as rapidly as possible. Because you need a way you can reliably get high-calorie food, and the best I could come up with is just start the game, get fishing as fast as you can, and fish as aggressively as you can. And just as fast as you can get the food in your mouth, go for it. Because if you did that, I could literally box off like a little room on the river and just shovel fish into my mouth. As, like, you know, we'd cook it to get the extra hunger and all that. Or, yeah, we'd probably cook it. But just eat as fast as we possibly can. And then you can just drink water out of the river. Yep. That's what I'm saying, is you can go from underweight to normal much faster than you can go from overweight to down. So I've actually found you can absolutely lose weight in multiplayer. I've been doing it just fine. I do believe it boils down to the fact that you do not sleep at any point in time, means your days last practically twice as long in actual playtime. And then on top of that, a lot of multiplayer servers do go for longer days. And just because you're awake that much, you end up eating more, is what I've observed. Now granted, I haven't done huge tests in that, but I don't seem to find that for the number of days, it seems to be that wrong if I'm being deliberate about the eating. I would say it's about half the speed. It's going half as fast as this does. And that's, again, if I'm awake the whole day as opposed to, like, half the day. I'm eating the whole day as opposed to half the day. That's annoying. So I don't think it's a bug. I think it's the fact that you don't sleep, so there's no fast-forwarded point where you don't need food that it is slower. Versus gaining weight on a multiplayer server is easier because you have more opportunity to eat. Because you're awake forever. Get ready to say goodbye to the machete. It didn't last as long as we had hoped. But yeah, multiplayer, it's definitely easier to gain weight than lose it. Right, but I find that the amount of weight you burn doing stuff is nowhere near as impactful as the amount you eat. Like, it does feel very much in favor of the eating more so far as gaining calories than, like, you doing stuff. Now we should top off our water.